would like to start with Manvi. Manvi, your episode, I think, was the highlight for me. And of all those things, I think your chemistry with Hussein Dalal was the best part. I mean, the chemistry does not have to be romantic always, of course. And it is how the two of you carried the dialogue and how you perfectly timed the conversation. I think it seemed just too real to be scripted. I want to ask you, was it mostly on done on the fly? Were you guys really simply just chatting? And is this a rare thing, finding that really nice chemistry with your co-star?
So I'll start with the second part first. That yes, it is a rare thing to find that perfect sync with somebody, or just be able to have fun with somebody, And it can be matching the person's energy, or it could be contrasting the person's energy in a way that's complementing, together. But either way, it's just yeah, it's pretty rare, but when it happens, it's fantastic, I think. But I think as actors, as we are growing and as we are doing more and more work, we're also learning the tricks of how to make that happen, and so we can try and also try and work towards making that happen in every project. Now for your first question, that a lot of it actually, so a lot of Hussein's lines he did improvise, because he is an actor,
He's
sorry,
also a
he's a
writer.
writer. He has a lovely writing background, and he writes, and so a lot of the lines he would just, and he's a very funny guy, as such, so he would come up with a lot of things. So a lot of my reactions were in response to those, so which is why it seems, some scenes may seem like, oh, this is regular banter, like, they're actually just talking, but a lot of it was already there as well, so we knew we knew what area we're discussing, and then we would, like, we would I would always like, I would like to say, I would always stick to the lines, and Hussein would go astray, and then we would have to bring him back. But yeah, we had a great time. Yeah, we would just, there was a lot of conversation, there was a lot of give and take as actors, and I think that's what hopefully has translated onto screen.
And it did translate very well.
Thanks.
And Shiny, I wanted to speak to all of you actually about how the three of the four stories that I watched about ones that had Shiny, Manvi, Sony, and Gohar, of those three were about people who are cheating on their partners. Some of them, such as a Shiny story, they are dealing with the aftermath of the act, and some like Manvi contemplating if it would really be such a bad idea to do it. A few days ago, it was the anniversary of Silsila, one of the first movies we have seen about cheating couples and what happens in their lives. And most people were pulling up old stories about how people had projected that this movie will not work with the Indian audience because no one will be ready to accept a male lead who has cheated on his wife, and the wife willing to
As
accept him back.
accepted back, correct, yeah.
Yeah. And then a few years later, a similar something happened with Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna as well. Do you guys think, Shiny, for instance, your story is really about that one incident when a woman cheats on her man and she wonders if it's still love between them? Do you think people are ready in India or anywhere, the audience is ready for a more nuanced, mature conversation on this topic?
I think yes, because times are changing and the reality has changed. But more than that, I feel, a man cheating on the wife and the wife taking him back is still more common. In this case, like in Single Jhumka, the woman cheating and the man taking her back, or, willing to have a conversation and not be hurt, and, not coming from a, deep rooted male ego, and how could you do that to me kind of this thing is more rare, and Pradeep to have written it and in the way that he did, and put it so simply, because the conversation that happens after what goes in their lives is very interesting, and it's so real, and it feels so normal. It's so uncomplicated. It's really honest. So I wish that people actually, couples can have a conversation like this. I mean, of course, it would be traumatic for some, and it's definitely not nice to be cheated on, no matter who you are. But yeah, I think from an audience perspective, it happens so much, right? I think infidelity, I always get stuck in this one. I feel very scared, honestly. I ask some of my friends because it's one of the reasons I don't think I want to get married, because I'm like, what if, because these days options are also more, everyone's like, so,
More
and I don't,
accessible to be cheating
yeah,
on.
more accessible, and I don't understand open relationships, honestly. Like, I'm only talking about, how I feel. So I am very petrified, honestly. And it's one of the reasons I'm like, नहीं, शादी तो नहीं करनी है भाई, कुछ हो जाएगा तो मैं नहीं माफ कर पाऊंगी, like that. So I don't know how I would react, but I wish I'm as cool as Ashima as a husband is.
And Sony, that one rare moment of peace in your story, Hara Bhara, was when Vinay Pathak really tries to talk to you about how you've raised the daughter as a solo project almost. He is appreciative of what you have done, and you simply tell him it was a joy raising her. And sometimes parents really don't consider it a joy after 20 to 18 years of struggling with a child. People might not really look at it as a joy. I would like to ask you that you have also raised two daughters. Was that really a solo project? And in that moment, while you were filming that scene, did you ever make a connection with your own life and how it was a joy raising Alia and Shaheen?
Absolutely, because however much you struggle as a parent, as a mother, father, or anybody, however much you struggle and however difficult it might seem at the time, or when you're going through something, difficult with your kids, or just bring up kids, it's an exhausting exercise. On emotionally, physically, it's still a joy. It's still a joy. It'll always be a joy. It's you don't look at it like that because it isn't. That's not what it is. It is there's so much a part of you, so you have to nurture that, no? Yeah.
And guys, all of these episodes end with a cab ride in a Kali Pili, something all Mumbaikas are mostly familiar with. I am not. I've never really traveled in a Kali Pili myself. I've been all my life in Delhi and North India. So, would you tell me that these instances, this absolute comfort that you feel in the back of a cab, has it happened to you as well? You have memories to share about your cab rides in Mumbai?
Yeah, I think we've all had experiences in Kali Pili, and I mean, not off late as much as back in the day, but and we all, I mean, we feel pretty safe, right? And we were just discussing it earlier as well, that that's one of the best things about Bombay, that you don't think twice before taking public transport in the night as women, as women working long hours, and especially in this field where we have like the most outrageous call times and stuff. Yeah. So and cab and yeah, we all have stories. Like I have a story where my bag was returned to me, or sometimes like they'll tell me stories about their lives, and I mean, so there's a mixed bag, and but yeah, in terms of safety, I think it's pretty. It does feel like a safe space, and yeah, and it's a pretty big part of, like, it's a pretty iconic part of Bombay life, I feel.